The courtroom intends to be a place where law and order are the most important things, and, for the most part, this is done. The fact remains, however, that there are times when it can become terrifying, chaotic, and completely unpredictable. When you consider what is at stake, it is not difficult to comprehend why this is the case. Nevertheless, these 12 unbelievable courtroom moments that were captured on tape will take you by surprise. Number 12. Penelope Soto. When Soto stepped in front of the sentencing court and got her punishment in February 2013, it appeared as though she was under the influence of Xanax. By acting in an unprofessional manner and laughing at the judge on multiple occasions while he was attempting to communicate with her, the young girl made the situation even more difficult. After she is informed of the entire amount of her punishment, the situation ceases to be humorous, and she answers with some invented sign language. It should go without saying that things continue to get worse, and yet, she did end up apologizing for her actions. Number 11. Racist moderator. When a judge made a racially charged comment to a person of minority ethnicity, the last place you would expect to hear it was in the courtroom. However, this is exactly what happened in a court in Essex County, New Jersey in January of 2010, when the judge suggested that the Latina woman who was defending her client was an illegal alien. By removing herself from the courtroom and giving the judge time to reflect on what he had said, the woman demonstrated that she was able to handle this situation in a manner that was both delicate and assertive. Number 10. Monica Contreras. A video that Monica Contreras posted on her YouTube channel in August 2011 detailing a sexual assault she had suffered at the hands of a judicial officer went viral. Following the completion of an investigation, law enforcement officers determined that there was sufficient evidence to terminate the employment of Court Marshal Ron Fox. The fact that Contreras was detained for no reason at all by the same individual who was also her attacker is what makes the video particularly unsettling. It is not the outburst that Contreras has that is particularly distressing. Contreras is being ignored by Judge Patricia Doninger, who is instead occupied with playing with her small daughter. This is taking place under the watch of Judge Doninger. In the end, Doninger was also fired from her employment. Number 9. The judge and the defendant engage in a battle. Judge John Murphy of Florida engaged in a verbal altercation with Assistant Public Defender Andrew Weinstock in June 2014. However, it did not take long for the mouth-to-mouth outburst that occurred in the courtroom to escalate into a mano-a-mano confrontation. Even though the battle itself takes place off-screen, you can hear the dispute, and judging by the sound of it, Murphy emerges victorious. A public defender for the 18th Judicial Court named Blaze Tredis made the following statement. The attorney stated that as soon as he entered the hallway, he was grabbed by the collar and began to be struck. There were no conversations, and there was not even time for anything. It was immediately after they entered the corridor that the attorney was taken into custody. Later on, Murphy took a leave of absence and issued a public apology, although he did not explicitly apologize to Weinstock, as reported by Florida Today. Number 8. Tony Farmer. When it came to collegiate and professional basketball, Tony Farmer was considered to be one of the most promising prospects in the country. Before he threw away his entire career by assaulting his ex-girlfriend in front of a surveillance camera, he had already established a promising future for himself. When Farmer learned that he would be losing his peak basketball years as a result of a 3-year prison term that was handed down in August of 2012, he did not take the news well. The slap on the wrist that Ray Rice received not too long ago is surely put into perspective by this. Number 7. Ernie Turtelge. Do-it-yourself attorney Ernie Tutledge, who is 52 years old and calls himself the living natural man, was found to be in contempt of court in August of 2013 for his repeated outbursts, which occurred before the jury was even selected. Yes, that is how he spells his name. During the proceeding, he posed the query to the judge: why is a British recognized esquire asking questions in an American courtroom? Then things start to get a little strange. The fact that Turtelge was brought before the court in the first place was because he had been fishing without license. Number 6. Harvey Wintz, currently serving time for the horrendous torture of a child that resulted in burns covering more than 18% of the body of the 3-year-old boy. Harvey Wintz is a man who is 22 years old and has been convicted of the crime. When Wintz found out in May 2013 that he would be sentenced to up to 65 years, he, along with his friends and family members who were present at the hearing, lost it. In the video, the pastor of the family is seen assisting in the restoration of order, but not before one of the most significant outbursts in the courtroom on this list. Number 5. Dexter Johnson. The rape and murder that Dexter Johnson, a teenager from Houston, perpetrated together with a few other individuals occurred while he was 19 years old. In June of 2007, he was put on trial and found guilty of capital murder. When the sentence was given down, he continued to demonstrate the violent side of his personality that he had been accused of. The members of Johnson's family yelled and wept when they heard the sentence of death handed out to them. After the individual passed out, an ambulance was dispatched. Johnson, on the other hand, decided to start knocking down chairs until he was finally taken down by a large group of officers. Number 4. Lance Dyer. In May of 2014, Lance Dyer was only 16 years old when he led the police on a car chase. Instead of surrendering, he ran away on foot while pointing a loaded revolver at the officers who were seeking him. He was given a sentence of 11 years in prison, which was a punishment that his sister did not approve of particularly. In contrast to Dyer's generally calm and accommodating demeanor, his sister, who is not identified in the report, engages in a rant filled with profanity and puts up a fight against the authorities who are attempting to remove her from the premises. Even though she was removed from the courtroom and not charged, the judge did not permit her to participate in the remaining hearings. Number 3. Michael Gaines. During this non-sanctioned outburst in the courtroom, make sure the children are wearing earmuffs. Throughout the video, a guy who has been identified as Michael Gaines uses some of the most offensive words ever heard directed against the judge and the officer who arrested him. You get a sense of what the man is saying, and it is not difficult to fill in the blanks. While the bleep button gets a decent workout, you find out what he is saying. Because of reason, it is preferable to keep this at a distance from the children. The Associated Press reports that the incident took place in July of 2008, and Gaines was given a sentence of 13 years in prison for his crime. Number 2. A young man of 11 years old who aspires to be a gunman. Because the culprit in this video from October 2013 was just 11 years old, the name of the individual has been suppressed. However, when it comes to emotional outbursts, the child has not yet learned how to withhold their emotions. After being sentenced for bringing multiple firearms and more than 400 rounds of ammunition to school to kill several classmates, he yanked free from the cops and raced towards the exit door while yelling profanities. Number 1. Michael Marin. Michael Marin, who was convicted of arson in 2009, had a horrific plan to avoid serving his term for the crime he committed. It was stated that Marin took a suicide pill in 2012 after the jury had issued a verdict, and then waited for it to take effect. The substance that was ultimately discovered to be cyanide was later identified. At the 7:43 mark of the film, you can see exactly when the tablet began to take action. However, there is some debate regarding the exact moment that he swallowed the medication mentioned earlier. To begin, Marin extends his torso forward in his chair. At this point, 2 women in the vicinity become aware that something is amiss, and after that, things start to get frightening. Marin was taken out of the courtroom on a stretcher, but he had already passed away before personnel from the medical staff could assist him. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.